All right. So in this video, Leslie and I will be talking about the general stress that people are going through right now, especially with the shutdowns and isolations. And she is an expert in her own right, which we will talk about shortly. But yeah, we just wanted to talk about, what everybody's going through. And I'm sure, Leslie, I'm sure there's people whose relationships have gone even better because of this, but for the purpose of this video, we're gonna focus on those that are experiencing stress and anxiety in their relationships. So let's just quickly go over who is experiencing that kind of thing, like parents, children, young adults. Like what would parents, for example, be experiencing right now?
Well, I think that a lot of parents at this time are just overwhelmed
Mm-hmm.
by the number of tasks and trying to juggle all of the things that need to get done in a 24-hour period. So, if they're lucky enough to be able to work from home, then they have to manage working at home, making sure that their children are, if they are learning virtually, making sure that their children have everything that they need. So, in essence, they're like pseudo teachers,
Yeah, yeah,
as well as full-time employees. And then they still have responsibility of the household. So what are we going to eat? Who's going to clean our clothes, clean the house? Just all of the things that need to be done on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. They're having to juggle all of those things.
overwhelm.
Absolutely
And
overwhelming, very much so.
and there's also couples. So they may or may not have kids, but couples, intimate relationships, what kind of things?
Oh boy, oh boy,
Where do
that's
you begin?
really my area of expertise, right? So what what I am seeing now is just this realization that um, being around one another constantly shows, kind of puts a magnifying glass
Oh yeah.
on challenges or problems that you may have had that were already sort of pre-existing that you were able to kind of ignore because you went to work or you had other activities that kind of masks what was going on interpersonally. But now that we are home and having to be around one another the majority of our day, it reveals people's inability to communicate effectively, work together, problem solve, etc. And
Yeah,
so they're having to figure all of that out. And then if they have children, that's just another added layer
for
of
sure.
discord, conflict, and confusion.
I can imagine. And then there's children. They're going through their own thing.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, I'm sure they want to be with their friends and not have to see their
definitely.
parents every minute.
Yes, especially those extroverted children who are
Oh,
really
yes.
social
Yeah.
and love to just hang out with their friends and be able to talk to their friends, socialize. School is one of those places where you're not just learning academically, cognitively, it is social emotional as well, where we learn how to behave in the world, in society, and we build relationships, friendships with people, and it's challenging to do that when you're not able to be around people and engage people or touch people, etc.
Yeah. I've heard some stories around that. But okay, young adults.
So young adults, I think it's kind of the same. Young adults, when you're early 20s, you like to kind of hang out, you have to have fun, you like to enjoy your life. You may be in school, you may be working. That's a challenge. You're just coming out of, adolescence where you're having to take on responsibilities and um, young adulthood is really about establishing relationships, particularly romantic relationships. And so when you're not able to have those kind of face-to-face connections and do the things that young people like to do, that becomes overwhelming and stressful in and of itself. And then also, just dealing with sometimes you don't know how to um, find the supports, or how to, the good thing about young adulthood, let me say this before we continue to talk about the challenges, if you will.
Yeah.
People are finding creative ways to stay connected. And young people, the good thing about young adults is that millennials are just mad, crazy, tech tech savvy
Yeah,
individuals. And so they just utilize the resources that they have to try to keep those connections and make sure that they're able to socialize and have those experiences just in a different way. If you're
for sure.
graduating, that's a real bummer. Graduating college for young adults, because you don't get to walk across the stage, you don't get to do the thing. Things just look very
Yeah.
different for people. Or if you're having these other milestones in life, like maybe getting married, or you want to
Oh,
do a
yeah.
friend's wedding,
The
or
entire wedding season.
right.
Whew.
It's just, it looks totally different. But again, they're being very creative about virtual baby showers and virtual, bridal showers and virtual. It's just really cool to me the way that people are utilizing the resources that we have to still find a way to enjoy life and to continue.
For sure. I think it's a double-edged sword. So depending on the circumstances.
Yeah.
And in your expertise, let's dig into Leslie's expertise. There's a ton of things.
Yeah. So I am I work primarily with couples now, but my background is children and families. So I know a little bit about a couple of different things, but primarily I spend much of my time working with couples and helping them figure out ways to just love each other better and to achieve more together.
Awesome. Awesome. Oh, and you have a cool thing, a cool digital product, which we're going to get into.
Yeah.
So let's get to the nitty gritty of how we can share insights for those experiencing stress and anxiety. So let's start with parents. What are the main ways parents can alleviate their angst from obviously being overworked, like you mentioned, and looking after kids, etc.? What can they do?
So one of the things that I think is really helpful is for parents to create a schedule and try to stick with that schedule as closely as possible. Because when you schedule things as opposed to just flying by the seat of your pants, it um, gives you an opportunity to you're able to see a full day or week or sometimes even a month. If you Then you don't have to try to, when things come up that you didn't plan for, it's easier to manage those things. If you don't have a schedule and you don't have a real plan, then things can become very chaotic very quickly, and you'll find yourself putting out a lot of fires, and that just creates additional stress. So if you can have a schedule, a time where you wake up in the morning, here's what we do. We get the kids logged on, or we send them off to school, or whatever you do. Then I come home and I exercise for 30 minutes, and then I log on to work, and then and then the kids we have lunch at this time, and then whatever it is, if you can have a schedule and stick to that schedule, put the kids to bed at a certain time, schedule some breaks in there. And in schools, we call them brain breaks, but parents need brain breaks too, where
Yeah.
maybe even if it's 5 or 10 minutes, maybe you go in the bathroom, or maybe you go in your room and close the door and just listen to your favorite song, or
Punch a
song
pillow.
filter. So all of that.
Yeah.
So anyway, just having a schedule and trying to stick to that schedule as best as possible, making sure the kids have bedtimes, et cetera, et cetera. That really will help to alleviate a lot of the stress, because you know what needs to be done, and then it's just a matter of executing.
For sure.
So that's number one. Number two is to allow the children time to just like go outside in the backyard, or doing a quiet activity, maybe a puzzle, read a book, something where there's like quiet time, or time where they can get out and enjoy some fresh air. Or if you have maybe like a co-op of people small group that you spend time with, maybe allow them to do that with a family member, a sibling, something where they can be away from you and you from them. And so that you're not overwhelmed by constantly being around the same people all of the time. So having some separate time away is definitely a good way to alleviate some stress. I have just two more. Another idea is to take a time out. Like I said, schedule some time to just say, you know what, we're going to take a 5-minute break. I'm going to go here, you go to your spot, and let's just do our own thing for a few minutes and then come back. So, and maybe set a timer so that you can hear that, because it keeps you on schedule.
That's true. Yeah.
So set a timer and you do what you want for your 5 minutes or 7 minutes. And I do what I want for my 5 or my 7 minutes. And then we come back and we get back to work because we have things that we have to accomplish. And then finally, I would just say keep a positive attitude. This is a time for us to just kind of reframe things. And it's not like, oh, I have to be home all day with these people. No, I get to be home. No, seriously, it's about the way we think about it, you know? You have to take it and view it as a glass half full as opposed to a glass half empty. And if you can keep a positive attitude about things, then you're less likely to experience stress.
Right. No. Totally understand. I got to apply that to mine too. And for couples, well, this is your specialty right here. So what's your advice for the main ways couples can alleviate their stress and anxiety without kids?
Yeah.
This is
So
really,
whether you have kids or don't have kids, as a couple, you have to be a unified front. So you have to work together. Teamwork is like the number one thing. You have to figure out a way to work together to get things done. The more you can work together, the better you work together, the more you can accomplish. So you divide and conquer. Here's what I'm good at. Here's what I can do and tackle and take care of. Here's what you're good at. Here's what you can do to tackle and conquer so that we can achieve more. We always achieve more when we work together. So couples need to really figure out a way to be great teammates and to work together, number one. Number two, I think that you need to communicate. You need to communicate. That means verbally communicating what it is you need, what it is you want, what your expectations are, and then working to meet each other's needs. You got to help each other out, but you also have to ask for help. If you need help, you have to say, hey, can you help me? And then the other person has to be willing to assist. So that goes back into teamwork, but that's related to communication, because if I don't know you have a need, then, none of us reads minds. Well, maybe some people do or think that they do, but most of us know that we don't read minds. And so you have to verbalize what it is that you're thinking or feeling. Otherwise, I won't know. Yeah. So it's really important to keep the lines of communication open. And you want to communicate, you want to over communicate as opposed to under communicating.
Oh, for sure. There's a lot of assumptions going on, like in some situations.
And then being gracious to your mate, gracious because, you get frustrated and you get overwhelmed, and sometimes you get a little snappy or irritable potentially. So just understanding that, having a forgiving spirit, being compassionate and saying, hey, what is it that I can do to help you? Or even thinking about
move to the other side of the room.
What can I do to make this person's day go smoother? So like if you like coffee, do you like coffee, Beverly? I don't like coffee, but
I do.
Oh, you do. I like hot chocolate. If my husband got up and got me a cup of, glass or a cup of hot chocolate, I would be like so thrilled. I would be like, thank you. It's a really nice gesture. So what can I do? Just one little thing that would make my day easier, or let them know that, hey, I have your back, you got my back, and it's going to be okay. You just take one at a time and you get things done that you need to get done.
Yeah. Oh, that's the key. Don't overlook the little things, because those are the things that matter.
Absolutely.
And refrain from assuming. That's a
Yes, you can't
key
assume.
one for me.
You have to ask for what it is you need, or don't assume that your mate knows what you need. You have,
Yes.
you have to say it. You have to tell them, hey, I need help with this, or I need 5 minutes. Like
Yeah.
you're overwhelming me, or I feel, whatever you need to communicate that, and then respect that. The
Yes.
other person just needs to respect it. You have to have together time, but then you have to have, separate time.
Yes. Oh, yes,
That,
exactly.
yeah. So.
Awesome. And for children, what are the main ways children can address their stress by, obviously not being able to socialize with their kids? Um, what can they do?
Yeah, so we need to teach our kids to verbally communicate what they're thinking and feeling as well, and then allow opportunities for them to be able to do that. So um, children can express to their parents or their siblings or whomever how it is they're feeling. They can do that verbally. They can draw pictures. They can journal. They can, like we talked about earlier, utilizing social media because they're very tech savvy, and there are all these platforms and opportunities for us to stay connected, even though we can't see each other, or we're
Hmm.
not seeing each other face to face. There are so many ways for us to stay connected, just like we're doing now. They can do the same thing. I've seen some really creative things, Beverly. Like I've
Ooh.
seen people, parents have like play dates where they have like sleepovers, but they do like a virtual sleepover. I've seen like glow parties and tea parties.
Glow parties.
Oh my gosh, where people dress up, parents in the dark. I have seen the most amazing uses, creative ways to stay connected. I mean, it's just been absolutely amazing. So it's definitely doable. And I would just encourage children to, depending on the age of the child, I would, would determine how you allow them to maybe express. Smaller children obviously need their parents' help to use these kind of platforms,
Yes.
but older children, they don't.
Yes. No, totally agree. Oh gosh. The thing is, social media is a double-edged sword, right? So given that it's used properly.
Yeah, that's why you have to kind of monitor. I mean, you want to
Yeah.
monitor and make sure you want to teach them to be good digital citizens, and make sure that they're utilizing, just like with anything else, you want to utilize responsibly. And you just have conversations, sometimes constant conversations about what that looks like. And if
Yeah,
they're younger, you're monitoring and you have to facilitate. So
for
it's a little
sure.
bit easier to monitor.
As they say, the social dilemma from Netflix. That's a good one, anyways. And lastly, like, in general, what are some of the ways that we can address, I mean, people in general, from not being able to see their loved ones? That's a big thing. Cabin fever, especially the extroverts that you mentioned. Yeah, what's your final take on that?
Yeah. Again, it's just trying to be really creative about how we stay connected while we're apart, and finding creative ways to do that. So if you are not a social media person and you're not tech savvy and able to use these different platforms, what else can you do to stay connected? Um, are you a writer? Do you write letters, or do you write? Can you send a gift, or can mail them a card? Or this is a perfect time and opportunity to really just for all of us to kind of slow down and really figure out
Yeah,
how we can, in a meaningful way, let people know that we love them, that we're thinking about them, and that they matter. And so it's also a great time for self reflection. And if you can't be around the people that you love, face to face, and you're unable to really connect with other people via via these technological platforms, then it might be time for you to take some time for yourself to just really get to know yourself. Extroverts, I used to be a major extrovert.
Oh
Over
yeah.
the years, yes, over the years, things kind of shifted for me where I went through a period of like really deep, like soul searching and just self reflection and just trying to figure out who I am and, what my purpose is and what I'm doing. And this is a perfect time for that. I mean, it really is a perfect time to figure out,
Yes.
okay, who am I? What do I, when I leave this place, what do I want to be known for,
Yes.
remembered for? And what are some things about myself that I want to change or improve and really start to do that work?
Yeah.
So
That
it
is.
is about connecting to other people and making sure that we are um, keeping those connections, because relationships are so important, but so is the relationship that we have with ourselves. And there are
Yes.
so many people who just don't know themselves, and they don't know what they like or don't like or what they want to do or what they and so now's the perfect time for self-discovery and figuring out who you are
Yeah.
and what you like and what you want to, on the other side of all of this stuff, what it'll look like, what life will look like after.
I love that. Love that, because I self-reflect every day, even before this whole thing. So now it's like double down.
Right?
Yeah, everybody got to double down on it.
Yes, absolutely. It's a perfect time. It is the perfect time to do that.
Yes.
It is.
Perfect. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
We will wrap that up there, but I really want you to get it out there of what you're up to. Um,
Oh.
an app, an app, an app, app,
Yes. So I'm really excited because we are in the process of, we're sort of pre-launch of this platform for couples. And it really is to help couples be more intentional about their relationships on a daily basis. We want to help couples, whether they are doing extremely well and thriving, whether they are just kind of surviving, kind of just limping along. And those couples that are in crisis, we want to help them turn it around. And so we really are an ally for couples who want to strengthen, preserve, restore their relationships. And so we are the biggest cheerleader for couples. We want them to be successful. We want them to be happy and well and healthy and whole. And so we just try to do everything that we can to facilitate that. So this platform is really a platform for them to grow, to establish goals, to achieve them, and have fun at the same time. It's kind of a gamified, team themed platform for couples to engage each other, engage other couples, learn a lot, grow a lot, and just continue to become the couple that they desire and to have the kind of relationship and love that they desire.
Is
I'm
this
very excited.
is it already up in the app store?
So it is up. We are in the beta stages now. So we have couples that are using the platform and that are providing feedback for us. We also have providers that are providing feedback, because if a couple is in a crisis, for example, they can find a counselor or a coach on that platform. So we are getting feedback from those providers as well. So if anybody's interested, I am so very excited about it, because I think it's going to be absolutely amazing and transformational. We try to cover 5 areas: spiritual growth, passion, intimacy, teamwork, and commitment. We focus on those areas. We help assess where they are now, where their strengths are, where they maybe need to spend some time so that they can grow and experience the kind of life and love that they desire. So if anybody's interested, you can go to marriagechamps.com. Follow us on social media, same thing, at marriage_champs, and you can learn more about that. So I appreciate you having me this evening, Beverly. This has been
Oh
awesome.
no, thank you, thank you. We need that advice out there, because it's a time of relationships and community building and
Yeah.
less separation.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
All right, Leslie, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was great. I appreciate it very much. I hope it was helpful to somebody's listening.
Give a thumbs up, guys. Give a thumbs up.